Yo, what's good? It's Mastermind MMA. And, I went to bed a little late last night. I woke up this morning. I saw the clock was 10 o'clock. And from what I heard, to be quite honest with you, I heard that catch the Rothwell Dos Santos fight starting at 10 p.m. on Sunday. So, you know what? I glanced up, I looked at the clock, and I'm like, you know what? Your boy might not catch this Rothwell Dos Santos fight. But then I was like, fuck it. I woke up 2 hours later, but I woke up and then I turned it on, and then I see some names I don't even recognize. I'm like, oh, good, it didn't hit the main event. So let me see what time it comes on. Come to find out, that bitch starts at 2 o'clock. It's good. I'm not complaining, but it's a little weird when I thought I was going to start at 10 o'clock. First, I thought it was weird that they were going to start a fight at 10 p.m., let alone a main card, but makes sense they did. It's stupid. I just wanted to get that out there. But what's up, guys? How you doing? I wanted to do a video picking between Rothwell and Dos Santos. Maybe if I look at the card, it's an interesting card, then I'll do some more picks. But to be quite honest with you, at first glance, I don't recognize shit. Think it just might be a bunch of Croatian fighters. I know when they fought in Australia, they did a lot of Aussie fighters and so on and so forth. So that's smart. I'm not complaining. All right, so Ben Rothwell versus Junior Dos Santos. Both coming off of recent fights, very different positions. Ben Rothwell had a big submission win over Josh Barnett, who's a big jiu-jitsu player in the heavyweight division. You know, when you say jiu-jitsu and heavyweights, the first thing that comes to mind is Frank Mir, leg locks, Fabricio Verdum. And now, in my opinion, Josh Barnett wasn't really that elite enough to be off top jiu-jitsu reference, but he's never been submitted. And Ben Rothwell did that with a go-go choke. And apparently it's no one's really gotten into it, but from the description, I believe go-go means Adam's apple in Portuguese. And the technique is basically like pulling your Adam's apple out through your motherfucking throat. So apparently that's what Big Ben Rothwell's been doing. If you go through his record, he has a win over Josh Barnett, Matt Mitrione, Alistair Overeem, Brandon Vera, Brendan Schaub. If you guys never saw that win over Brendan Schaub, it's one of the most entertaining knockouts ever, because it looks like your boy Big Ben's about to get knocked out. That's the thing. It's one of the most misleading highlight reels. If you just catch it within context, Brendan Schaub grabs his leg, goes to fake a takedown, then throws a spinning elbow, John Jones style. Rothwell gets rocked. Schaub goes up against the pressures him against the cage, and he's trying with everything he has to finish. And Rothwell's just getting swarmed, and he does like this awkward ass like hook flick. I can't even call it like a full on hook punch, because the way he did it, it's almost like he was just like tap tap tap, like he's literally tapping behind Brendan Schaub's ear. But he went 1, 2, 3, and Schaub's on the ground. And he doesn't even know where the fuck he is. His hands are still moving. His eyes are rolling in the back of his head. And he's climbing up the invisible ladder. So that was an entertaining win. And he lost to Gabriel Gonzaga. Lost to Mark Hunt. Lost to Kane. Lost to Andrei Arlovsky. Beat Roy Nelson. So, he's been in the game for a while now. He's actually not that old. He's only 34. I definitely thought at first glance he was a lot older than that, because he looks old as shit. He looks like in his 40s. Excuse that beep. That's my now mid-afternoon coffee. But JDS, I like JDS. I'm sure most of the people know Junior from his win over Kane, winning the belt, the quick knockout win that sparked up the trilogy. You know, those were wars, man. No way around that. Those almost would have been better if Junior would have gotten finished somewhere along those fights. But the fact that he took them to wars definitely wasn't good for him. He definitely hasn't looked the same. His chin hasn't looked the same. You know, I can't speak on his boxing. Junior was famous for his boxing. But, you know, the last Junior Dos Santos fight that I saw was his fight against Alistair Overeem. And if you want my honest opinion on that, if no one pulled that trigger in that fight would have been boring as shit. You see, the fact that Alistair finished JDS so fast with one shot, it really validates the entire style of that fight. Because they were both very hesitant, knew the power, and they were barely throwing. The first 5 rounds, they barely threw. Second 5 rounds, I mean, the first 5 minutes, they barely threw. The second 5 minutes getting into it, they weren't really throwing. And I believe Alistair caught JDS and JDS got knocked out. Which is why my pick is going to be Big Ben Rothwell. I think, you know, Big Ben's striking is awkward. If he strikes with JDS, I don't know how that's going to end. I'm not putting anything against Junior. Because Junior has heavy hands, elite boxing. He is a former UFC champion. This is pretty much why the fuck can I talk? A contender shot. See, this is what happens when you just fucking wake up and you're all scrambled, thought you're going to be watching a fight already. I couldn't even say the word contender. It could sound like I was speaking Spanish or some shit. But contender. There we go. So, if Junior... Alright, whoever wins this fight, I don't see them getting a title shot. But I see whoever wins this fight getting the fight over Overeem. I mean, has to fight the winner of Overeem Arlovsky. Arlovsky was at the top of the crop until he got finished by Stipe. They'll get Stipe headlining 198 for the title. If Andrei Arlovsky won that fight, that would have been him. You know, Stipe kind of stepped up when was needed. I think because of the way Stipe positioned himself, it was smart. And his ranking, he just took out Arlovsky, so that definitely set him up with the fight and locked him in. So after Overeem's win over JDS, because JDS has a win over Stipe, everyone was saying Overeem should get the title shot. And Arlovsky, it was kind of between Arlovsky and Overeem. Mostly Arlovsky, because Arlovsky was coming out of that Travis Brown fight. And he was looking like a straight beast. I think he fought Frank Mir after that. I really don't remember. I vaguely remember watching Andrei Arlovsky, Frank Mir. But I very vividly remember being bored as shit for that fight. And the Arlovsky-Stipe fight was on the Lawler-Condit card, co-maining it, and was disappointing on the side if you were rooting for Andre like I was. But I see between Overeem and Arlovsky, I don't know who's going to win. I'll do another video on that when the date gets closer. But I got to give it to Big Ben for the fact that Junior's chin just got checked months ago. When was the... You see, I don't even remember when the fucking Alistair... December 19th, 2015. You got knocked out, Junior. April. Now, January, February, March, April, you're going to give yourself 4 months. I don't think that's smart, especially after the wars. I kind of get the positioning that, there's at least 3 contenders. You got Ben, Ben, Reem, Orlovsky. 4 if you count Kane. So I kind of understand why JDS sees the urgency to do this. But the fact of the matter is, if Junior Dos Santos loses to Big Ben Rothwell, which I think he's going to, I think he's going to get finished. You see, this isn't, and you know what? I'm not even putting all my chips on the bet of the finish. Because Junior Dos Santos knows what's on the line. It's probably one of the main reasons why he agreed to fight. You don't get knocked out 4 months ago and agree to fight because I think he's trying to end his career on a higher note, which in the heavyweight division is pretty possible. Because if you look at the landscape of the heavyweight division, no new guys have really come up. Tell me a new guy in the heavyweight division. Tell me like a John Jones in the heavyweight division or a Conor McGregor, a young guy that came, took out the elite and got the belt. No one that I know of. Shit, Brock Lesnar was the closest to that, of like coming in, taking the division by storm and getting the belt, and even he got that ass handed to him a bunch of times. So JDS knows he's going to be coming extremely sharp into the game. He's going to be coming with his boxing skills on par, very elite striking, very strong hands, heavy hands. JDS is capable of the knockout. Has anyone knocked Big Ben out? I don't know about that, but he can definitely knock Big Ben out, in my opinion, with the power he has. He knocked out Cain Velasquez. But the thing is, my only real reason picking against JDS, if he didn't have that fight in December, I would say Junior would probably come out of this the victor. But the fact that you got knocked out in December, the thing is, Ben Rothwell already hits hard, and it's not gonna take his hardest hit to check your chin. His jiu-jitsu's been looking phenomenal. It's everything about Ben Rothwell is awkward. His striking, his submissions. So, if Big Ben, this is one of the fights I don't really have my chips much in any corner. It's just as an analyst, I'm trying to make a call. So, if Big Ben pulls it off, good for him. He works his way to a number 1 contender fight. Contendor. And if JDS wins, he's a vet, you know what I mean? Like, if JDS wins, I would say just give him the shot. But he just lost to Alistair. That's what fucks things up, man. He just lost to Overeem. So, you know what? Final call, Ben Rothwell in the second round by go-go choke. So I'm just kind of pulling that call out of my ass. And I'm going to put this video up before the fight. And then after the fight, if I'm right, I kind of have a video up for bragging rights. If I'm wrong, I have online documented proof of me looking like an asshole. So you already know it's Mastermind MMA.